in this world, if you're replaceable, you will be replaced, right? So if in your job you're in your 20s and you're doing something that other people could do, by the time you become 28, they can hire somebody 24 when they hired you, but for less money, they will do that right away. It's a brutal world. So if you're replaceable, you will be replaced. So the only defense against that is to be irreplaceable in this world. And the good news is that you are at your core irreplaceable. There is something strange and weird about you. Once again, I hate to say it, but it's a chapter that I'm writing right now for my Sublime book. Okay, and I explain in Mastery where that comes from biologically, your DNA, how you are marked as a unique individual at birth, the combination of variants in your chromosomes. It's mathematically impossible for it to ever be replicated. Yes, the variations are marginal. The differences aren't great between you and me, but those little differences are the differences between me liking this kind of hip-hop music and you liking a different kind of hip-hop music, right? It creates your inclinations, it creates your tastes. And so what the game of life involves is knowing your uniqueness, is knowing who you are, is knowing what makes you weird and what makes you odd, okay? And the problem is that we're social animals, and the pressure continually on us is to fit into a group, is to be like other people, to have their ideas, to have their values, to have their tastes, to dress like them, okay? And that happens when you're young, you're in your adolescence. We all go through that phase. I went through that phase. But if you keep on that track when you're in your 20s and on, which is happening a lot today through social media, you're going to lose that sense of what makes you odd and different. Mm-hmm. I compare it to a voice. When you're very young, that little voice in you is going, Robert, you should be a writer. Chris, you should be a blah, 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 blah. I don't know what it is, right? It's telling you something. And as you get older, you don't hear it anymore because you're hearing all the other voices. You're hearing your voices of your parents, the teachers, the culture around you, your peers, your friends, telling you this is what's cool, this is what's not cool. And that little voice becomes completely drowned out. And so you don't know who you are anymore. And you're afraid, particularly young people today, I mean, maybe it's always been that way, are so afraid of being different. They're so afraid of being odd. But look at all the powerful people in this world. Look at your Elon Musks. Look at your celebrities in entertainment, in business and politics. They're one of a kind. They have I hate that word, but it's like a brand. They're different. They stand out for something that's truly different. You know, even Albert Einstein, there's nobody else like Einstein. There's nobody like Da Vinci. Okay? That's where your power lies. And you'll go, oh, but Robert, those are people that were brilliant, that were talented. I'm not like that. I don't have that. Well, bullshit. You do have that. It's just you're forgetting about it and you don't want to put the effort into it. I talked in Mastery of a woman named Temple Grandin who was born with severe autism. And she was able to find her way to become a very brilliant professor, academic, writer, and about animals, animal behavior, and about autism itself. She found her way to it when she was 3 or 4, she couldn't even speak any language. She was going to be hospitalized. You have that potential. It's just you're not putting the effort into it. You are lazy. You want to fit into the group. You want to conform because it's easy. But your oddness, what makes you weird, what makes you different, that little strange quirk in how you want to dress yourself, that little strange quirk in your musical tastes, that little quirk in the food that you like to eat, that is who you are. Those are signs from deep within, from your core, or from your soul. This is who you are. And if you lose that, not only are you not going to be successful in life, you will also lose yourself, and you will be unhappy, you'll be alienated from who you are. And you can get away with that when you're young because you're happy, you look good, You've got energy. Things are going right. You get into your 30s and you're like everybody else. And you don't know who you are and you don't know what you like anymore. And you're just following the trends. You start to get depressed and you start going down this rabbit hole and things can turn really ugly. So you need a bit of courage in life. You need to go, okay, I am weird. I am strange. Lean into it. So when I had the 48 Laws of Power, when I first wrote the book, without it being published yet, it was a very strange looking book, and it reflects my own strangeness. Things on the margins, stories, everything broken up, images, quotes here and there. It's kind of how my brain is, a hodgepodge, kind of a mess, really. And the publishers, they bought the book, but then they came back to us and they said, Robert, can you kind of maybe make this more like other books? Can you get rid of all those sections and everything? And I said, no, take it or leave it. This is the book as it is. It's odd, it's strange. They didn't like that because if it doesn't fit into all the other books that have had successful, it's too big of a risk. If this movie isn't like the movies that were made last year, who knows who'll go see it? People are so conservative. But because it was odd, it stood out and it was successful. If I had succumbed and I compromised and made it more like other books, I wouldn't be here talking to you. So sometimes you need a little bit of cojones, you need a little bit of courage. You need to stand up and say, I'm okay being different.
Well, we've skipped a step because the first phase of the process is discovering your life's task. And that's the key to everything. It's the key to having a fulfilled life. It's the key to being happy in life. It's the key to reaching the goals that you want. Because what it is it's a process of self-understanding, self-knowledge. You have to become aware of what you were destined for in this life. You were born a unique individual. And it's a very interesting thought. It's the same kind of thought about your brain. There will never be another Michael Gervais. Your DNA is unique. The way your parents brought you up, their DNA is unique. The way they brought you up is unique. Your early experiences, you are a true individual, right? And that spark, that individuality is, I would compare to like a seed, right? It's been planted in you. And your destiny, your fate in life is to know what that seed is, to know who you are, what makes you different from everybody else, and to cultivate it. And if you don't understand that, the apprenticeship phase will be misery because you will start trying to learn and do things that aren't suited to your nature. Your brain has what I call a grain to it. And there's a book that I tell people that I like a lot called The 5 Frames of Intelligence by Howard Gardner. And he basically shows that there are 5 different kinds of intelligence. We tend to overemphasize the intellectual, the analytical skill, but there's musical intelligence, pattern intelligence, mathematical intelligence, there's social intelligence, there's kinetic intelligence, which has to do with the body and movement. There are 5 of them, I don't remember all of them. Yeah. You have one of them. There's one of them that's stronger than the others, right? It's where your brain naturally gravitates towards. And if you don't have the right fit, if you're launch your career, you go into law because you think it's going to be making a lot of money, but in fact, your brain and your that seed was made for something else. You're going to end up hitting a wall at some point. You're going to be burning yourself out, and your life will take bad turns, and things will, you will never reach the goals that you want. And so, if you don't know who you are, if you don't know what makes you different, then the apprenticeship phase is useless. In your 20s, I tell people you have to have adventure, you have to have fun. You can't be like, I've got to go to Wall Street, I've got to get a job at Goldman Sachs. You're going to waste your 20s. Your 20s, you're only young once. God, I wish I was in my 20s again. You don't know how much fun I had. It's only once, and it's the most incredible part of your life. You have all this energy, you look good, you're on top of trends, everything's going for you. So you've got to have fun, it's got to be an adventure, but that adventure has to have a direction. And that direction is heading towards something that you love, that excites you. So that I tell people in that early step, by the time you're 30, it's all going to come together. You're going to be able to create something interesting that is you because you spent your 20s learning skills, but having some fun, some adventure, some excitement. Don't be so single-tracked, because if you're single-tracked, you won't really discover what you're good at, because you won't try. It can't be that you try everything, but you have to try different things within that framework that you enjoy or love. And in the process of trying things out, you will learn. You will learn about yourself. You will learn about what you love, about what you hate, about what you were destined for. So I tell people, it's kind of a dance. You have to have a sense of direction, but you also have to have a sense of adventure and fun. You know, you have to make a living. We have to be practical in this world. So you can't just, you've been heading down a certain direction, you're in your 30s, but it isn't suiting you. You can't just give up and go try something completely different, because, you know, you're older, it's harder to learn, it's harder to make those kind of changes. So evolve. Don't try and change, but evolve, adapt. Find a way. I have an example of a woman who studied law, and it was a bad fit. She was getting very depressed. She'd always wanted to be a writer. And what she did was she went into writing about law. And through that, she discovered that she was good at it. And through that, she discovered that she could write mystery novels and detective stories, etc. But it was a process. She evolved and she adapted towards something that was fit her better. She didn't give up law and become a poet because she had to make a living. So, but that means you have to know who you are even in your 30s, and it gets very difficult. You can still do it in your 30s. By the time you're in your 40s, it's getting really, really hard. And so the message I want for young people is, don't get to that point. Avoid that point. Make sure that you figured out more or less when you're in your 20s, because then life kind of unfolds naturally for you in a good way. But when you're older in life, you have to kind of be practical and realistic. The other example that I often have, because I do get a lot of consulting and people that ask me these questions. So a typical scenario will be a young man or woman in their 20s stuck in a dead-end job. They have kids, they have a family, they have to support themselves, but they're deeply, deeply unhappy. What do you do? Okay, and I say, you have to take a simple step, okay? So you go through this process, and I go through it with them over emails, of what it is that you love, what it is that excites you, okay? Just doing that first step, they're already less depressed. Okay, all right, I'm thinking about myself instead of my family, instead of all these problems. I'm enjoying this process. Okay, you figure it out to some degree. All right, you can't quit your dead-end job because you need to support your family. All right, but you can study at night. You can go to night school. You can get on the internet and study these things. You can pick up a book. Start that process at night. And you have no idea how just a simple thing where you are giving them hope, where they're heading in a direction, it changes the whole picture. Now this job that they hate isn't so bad. And I say, you can learn from that terrible job. Everything is a learning experience. You're learning how things that you don't like. You're learning how to deal with people, because you're going to need social skills wherever you go. You've got a boss that you hate. You're going to learn how to not let that boss get under your skin, how to not be emotional. Learn while you're at this job, and at night go somewhere else. Suddenly the cloud that has been hanging over them is lifted just by those simple steps.